Hello, everybody in the Whalecoin Talk community. Today we bring you another great AMA. We have Orbit in the house, and they're going to tell us all about Andromeda. They're a nice token in here, and we got Jamie from the team talking to us. So yeah, Jamie, the way we like to start this is maybe do a small introduction about yourself and the team and sort of your experience, and then we can get some nice questions in about the project and the ecosystem. Yeah.
Yep, thank you very much, Acti. So my name's Jamie. I am CMO of Orbit. Um, so my background, I'm actually primarily before I got into crypto, before I got into becoming CMO of Orbit, I was actually, well, I still am a singer songwriter, relatively successful, and obviously. Coming on with that comes a lot of sort of heavy marketing experience, mainly from myself, mainly from other areas. Um, and I initially got into Orbit as an investor. I started as an investor on launch day, which is the 2nd of December. Very quickly got made a mod from being active within the community. And then sort of very quickly worked my way up as well. Sort of became a mod, and sort of my experience sort of shone through, and then became CMO. So that's essentially me in a nutshell. The CEO of Orbit is Monk. He comes from, well, an entrepreneurial background in general, but he came from a project called Baby Cake beforehand. I'm not sure whether you guys have heard of it, which was a meme coin that launched back in the summer of last year, which he took from a $5,000 market cap to 112 million in 5 days. And obviously, with the majority of meme coins, as you guys are aware, have a very have a shelf life to them. So um, once he kind of took that as far as he felt that he could, he really wanted his next project to be something long lasting in the space. Really utility based, and obviously, which I'll go into a little bit further in a short while. And yeah, so we launched Orbit. Orbit was essentially a hype launch, fair launch back on the 2nd of December. Generated about $5 million in a marketing wallet on the first day, serious amount of volume. And I'd say the launch was very successful, but then I feel like there was a few mistakes that were made in the sense that based around that kind of hype launch, that hype marketing, is that he wanted to do similar with what he did to Baby Cake, and increase a little bit of mysteriousness about what our utility was, and I felt like that wasn't necessarily the best way to go about it, because I feel like the only type of investor you attract in those instances are kind of like the sort of the moon boy types that are just literally looking for a quick few X, and we paid an extensive amount of money on sort of various hype marketing, which did pump the price up. But obviously, with those things, eventually what comes up must come down, unless we'd literally launched the utility right at that moment. However, since that point, we've been very, very busy building utilities, creating our ecosystem, and we've got some very, very exciting stuff coming out really shortly. So, just to give you a little bit of an insight as to what we're releasing, in a nutshell, we've got 4 utilities. All of them are about to launch the beta versions. Two we have that are going to be launching by the end of this week, which is Orbit Pad and Orbit Fund. Orbit Pad is essentially just a launch pad. Where we are only going to be launching very serious utility projects that we truly, truly believe in. So, regardless of how much money somebody came to us with, we will not launch a project that we don't personally think has a space to grow for the long term, and not just a quick pump and sort of dump after launch. Then we have Orbit Fund, which is essentially a decentralized crypto hedge fund, which is kind of the early stages of that before we do actually launch a full-fledged crypto hedge fund in a few months. But essentially, what that means is that our investors that are holding M31 tokens will have access to a variety of tiers of return on investment. So what you'll do is you will deposit BUSD into this fund, which is in the background. We have an exceptionally experienced, very successful trader that will be trading everybody's kind of trading all of the money that goes into that Orbit fund to create a return on investment. So those return on investment is starting at 7%. Up to 10%, depending on, as I say, the tier system that we have in place. So minimum is 2,500 Orbit tokens, so M31 tokens, and the highest at this stage is 250,000. We are then introducing Orbit Analytics, and that is a cross multi-chain advanced analytics, which is going to be able to provide our investors with real insight that high levels of detail that's going to be able to help you make smarter choices, sort of rivaling like glass nodes, etc. And finally, we are going to be introducing our cross-chain DEX front end, which will be probably out by I'd say the end of March. So these are all the beta versions, and then the V1s are going to be coming. And then what we're going to be doing particularly with the Orbit Fund. So the Orbit Fund is what we're going to be using as a company to create revenue that's going to be enabling us to drop the taxes that we currently have in place, and list on a major exchange come summertime. So that's it in a nutshell. I will stop rambling on for a minute in case anybody has any questions. Well, I'm sure you have many questions. I'm wanting to go into things further. So thanks for allowing me the chance to speak.
Yeah, yeah, man, no problem. Like I love it. Like I know a lot of people talk about their projects and how they're community driven and all that, but here you are, that someone that started as a community member, as an investor, and then worked their way up to actually having to be more involved with the token. So that's amazing. And yeah, you mentioned baby cake, and I don't know if there's anybody on the BSC that hasn't invested in baby cake. So of course everyone's familiar with that. Yeah, so maybe we can go into in some details about the utilities that you're launching. You mentioned the hedge fund, the pad, the data analytics, and then the cross-chain DEX. I'm assuming you mentioned the launch pad. Is that going to be the first one to launch?
So that and Orbit Fund are going to be ready at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Orbit pad, one of the questions we get asked a lot is how, there's plenty of launch pads out there, how are you going to compete, etc. So the launch pad itself is going to benefit from, first of all, we have a partnership with a project that is launching within the next week called JoinCoin, which are essentially a KYC project. And I also have some whitelist spots for you guys to give away afterwards as well. For anyone that's listening that wants to get involved. But JoinCoin are, as I say, a KYC project that have a very advanced AI method of KYCing projects. It's very much kind of about safety in the community, and they have a variety of utilities as well. So they've also got a partnership with Certec, which is going to be enable the people that are listing with them to get access to those Certec audits, and they'll fast track them for you as well. Also they're also in partnership with Everise, and so yeah, really happy to be partnering alongside those. So that's something that our investors are going to benefit from a lot, because it's doing our due diligence. Because as I say, we're not just going to list any old project on the launchpad anyway. We only want projects that we not only feel are safe from the team behind it, but also safe in the sense that it's not just going to be a project that just dumps off after a launch. So we have two projects that are lined up for a March launch on our launchpad. Both of them are very, very, very exciting projects. I can't release the details yet, but they're going to be released. At least one of them will be released within the next few days, and is a project that Monk and I, the CEO, when we've been on the calls with them and they're explaining what they're about and how the tokenomics are going to work, it's just left us with a massive smile on our face. We're really, really excited to be involved with them. So yeah, like our launchpad is going to be a real, we're not going to be launching constantly churning out projects. It's going to be very much handpicked what we feel has the best chance of succeeding, and what we feel is going to give the best chances of return on investments with our community. So that's the pad. And as I say, the Orbit Fund, which I mentioned, is also something that's going to be coming out by the end of the week as well.
Yeah, we're actually familiar with JoinCoin. We had a great AMA with them here previously, and they kind of have the same vision. Where I mean, their vision is to be bigger than CMC, right? And only list
Yep.
tokens. And by the looks of it, like how determined they are and their resources and the team behind it. Sure, it's not going to be tomorrow, right? But I can pretty much see it like coming in the future with their determination and the platform. They gave us a few sneak peeks on how it's gonna look and everything, so it was pretty cool. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
I see we see a lot of people, yeah, coming out with launch pads, and I think it's important to have a lot of them out there, because if there's a huge market for them and people don't just go to the, I don't know, the one that everybody likes or your favorite one, and they have an option, right, to see like what's offered here, what's offered there, how's the vesting here, are they taking tokens, are they doing this, are they doing that, is there any support from the pad and all that. And I yeah, I think there's a huge market uh, to satisfy out there for project makers, and I know a lot of pads offer support for their incubate through their incubator, so to speak, to actually create custom contracts and help these smaller communities, also smaller project developers, to actually go out there. So if you're taking this route, I can, and it seems you are, since the first one you onboarded is JoinCoin. And I'm also curious, like, are you taking applications for projects that want to launch through this launchpad, or are you actually going and looking for the best ones that kind of fit best in your ecosystem, or do you have a team that's scouting for them, or how does it work?
Absolutely. So we are currently we're actively seeking out projects. We have sort of a very extensive network of connections and people that we speak to. Monk and I are on calls like back to back all the way throughout the day, speaking to different projects, working out which ones we like, filtering out the ones that we really don't feel like have a chance of succeeding. But also, so our new website and white paper are going to be out by the end of this week also, and included on the website will be like an application process for projects that are interested in launching on our launchpad, to fill out their details, give us obviously a little bit more of an insight as to what the project's about, and then we'll sort of contact those and obviously have a further conversation with them to see whether or not it's something that we'd personally be interested in. As I say, no amount of money in the world could be given to us for us to launch a shit project. It's just not something we're willing to do for our reputation. But I also completely agree with what you're saying about the launch pads in the space, and I think by the very design of them, it's not. They're not, there's no scope for there to only be the one launch pad. I think this is what we get about that the whole competition thing, is that we feel that there is enough in the space for us to work freely and have the best projects, but also because of the way that we're going to be launching it, is we're going to very quickly get a reputation for only launching projects that are good, essentially, and that's really important. And we also recognize, when some of the bigger projects come along that have a massive allocation, say they want to raise $5 million, they're probably going to want to approach a variety of launch pads. And, we're more than happy to work alongside other people as well. Ultimately, and I don't say this was just to try and hype or be kind of a moon boy, but we will take over the space, and I don't mean from a launchpad perspective, but from what we're trying to achieve generally. I think particularly based on like the Orbit Fund, we're doing something that's different as well, as providing the other kind of, the Orbit Fund. It sounds good when you speak about it, but in theory, when you actually put into place what that's going to be able to achieve for us, both from a revenue perspective and what it's going to be able to achieve for our investors, it's really going to be a huge thing. And being able for us to very quickly create that revenue stream that enables us to drop the taxes and list on a major exchange in a short period of time is going to be, we're sitting at a relatively low market cap of about 4 to 5 million at the moment, but that's gonna rise exponentially over the coming months. And yeah, just very excited to be part of something special.
Yeah, it does sound like you guys are pretty determined as well, and judging by your partners, it all adds up, right? And yeah, you were mentioning the fund, the hedge fund. Will that be sort of like an index fund that you guys will keep, or will it be sort of a venture capital type of thing where you would go out and invest the fund, or how do you envision it? How will this like benefit your ecosystem? Will it feed back into the
So it's very
tokens?
much
Well, yeah.
it's very so it's very much going to be sort of community driven in the sense that it's going to be obviously tailored to our investors. Obviously, venture capitalists are welcome to come in, but we're not doing it where it's just open to anybody to invest. You have to be an M31 holder in order to gain access to it. And as I say, primarily at the moment, so the trader that we're using in the interim, I say the interim, it's still going to be part of the long term future, but the trader we're using right now for the Orbit Fund is somebody that's had a lot of success. She's purely trading crypto and has done very successfully. She's got a client portfolio of about 25 people at the moment that she's trading for. And this is kind of like, as I say, our beta version of the Orbit Fund. What we're then doing is we're creating a real hedge fund that's going to be based between Dubai, Bahamas, and I can't remember the other name of the country. Which will also trade, which will be primarily trading on the real stocks, so be 85% of futures, ETF, all that kind of stuff, and then 15% cryptos from the hedge from the actual hedge fund, and yeah, so that's going to be something that's also going to be launching as a tokenized project. Monk's going to have a sort of a co-ownership of it, and that's going to be, as I say, launching as its own token, which we will also be launching as well. And obviously, M31 holders are going to have priority holdings for that. But for now, it's going to be it's going to be, as I say, purely based on our experienced traders within the crypto networks. And what we're also doing with that as well, because we also appreciate that it's, you're placing a lot of trust within us, and these kind of things could be very quickly seen as a Ponzi scheme. So for the first 4 months of the Orbit Fund, we are making people take out both their initial investment and their return on investment, and then they'll have to restake it at the start of every trading period, just so that we can show that there is nothing left in that trading wallet. It's all been taken out, and then you re-put it back in, so that we can showcase over the next sort of 3 to 4 months that it's not a Ponzi scheme, and then we will then introduce sort of like an auto compound feature where people can just let their money sit there. They don't have to keep looking at it every month. They can just let it ride and keep creating that return on investment. We are also going to be introducing a referral system for the Orbit Fund. So, say for example, you invest and you get 10 people to invest, you will then get an additional return on investment on those 10 people that you refer. If those 10 people then refer 10 people, then you get an additional return on investment from the next tier down and the next tier down from there. So you can also create a substantial amount of money by not only investing in the Orbit Fund, but by referring people to it as well. So that's something that's going to be, I think, very, very important for the growth of it. And yeah, that's kind of that one in a nutshell. The other thing I forgot to add as well is that with the analytics and platform, we're going to be running on the decks. We're going to be running adverts just like PooCoin would do, etc. And we're going to be revenue sharing those adverts. It's going to be very transparent with our community. So the 50% of our revenue from those will be shared with our holders as well. So you will essentially get money for using our decks as well. So
Yeah, that sounds very good. And just going back to the hedge fund, like having people actually cash out their money and their profits, and kind of forcing them to take their profits is, I think, it's very beneficial. It also builds up because some people forget to take their profits, right? And one day, as like the market goes down, and they remember that, and I don't know, like they either forget or they're not experienced enough. So like this, you're actually kind of educating them as well. So
it's
it's
true,
a
but
good way.
also from the Orbit Fund. So from that side of things, the market going down won't won't affect your investment, because like, so for example, our trader that trades has so obviously had red trades but never had a red month, and the reason for that being is, regardless of the fact that the market, if the market goes down, you can still trade within that market going down, and still make profits, which she does very successfully. So it's not because you're not trading, you're just to make it very, very clear with the Orbit fund, you're not trading your M31 token. So that side of things, that will remain an investment that you can either keep or sell. But so what it is essentially a golden key to be able to access the Orbit fund, and then you'll be depositing BUSD into that, and that's what gets traded. Because if we were trading with M31 tokens, essentially for that to work, we'd actually have to sell those M31 tokens in order to actually have the kind of the liquidity to be able to trade with. So that would have a negative impact on the chart. So it's the Orbit fund is trading BUSD, but in order to access that, to create that that monthly return on investment, you will need to hold a certain level of M31. So just for example, there's 7 tiers. The lowest tier is 2,500 M31 tokens, which will give you up to 7% ROI, and 10 if you're holding the highest tier, which is 250,000 M31 tokens, you will have access to up to 10%.
Well, yeah, that sounds super attractive, to be honest. And just going back on you've touched upon the referrals. There are a lot of communities out there that love this kind of I don't want to call it multi-level marketing, but it kind of is, right? They have a huge following. I don't want to call them influencers or whatever, because you might only have 300 members in your group, but there are people that you know and that will follow you around. So having that backing and then churning them all into the ecosystem can be hugely beneficial. And
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I was just curious about like the fund. Where will there be sort of limits on how much you can put into the fund, or will that
Nope.
be part of the tier? No.
Nope. So because of the fact that the Orbit fund is going to be our main revenue stream, we didn't want to cap what you can invest, but it's more based upon the ROI. So if you're in the lower tier, you won't get more than 7% return on investment. So it really encourages those people to increase their bag in M31, to be able to not to be able to deposit more, but to be able to get a more significant return on your investment. And as I say, you're right in the sense of the referral system. It is essentially multi-level marketing. We avoid using that word because I think the word's kind of been tainted by a lot of, again, Ponzi schemes out there, and that's not what it is. But essentially, it's a multi-level marketing strategy, and something that, as I say, you could not invest anything in the Orbit fund, but refer a shitload of people, and if you're referring all of those people, and those people are depositing fairly sized amounts of money, but they're also referring other people as well to up their bags, then you're going to be getting a significant, and I mean a significant, amount of money monthly just by keeping referring those people. So
Yeah, I like the way it kind of feeds into the ecosystem, but at the same time it doesn't risk money from the token liquidity, right? So it's kind of separated but built together. So that's a huge plus. Yeah, I know like we kind of got ahead of ourselves here. We started talking about the utilities and all that, but maybe we should mention people that you can buy the token straight on the website. I see you guys are integrated with Flues, so you can buy it with a credit card. You don't have to have BNB and all that, so that's pretty cool. It's very inclusive. And then maybe you can tell us something about the lottery. There's a lottery here with a 3-day cooldown.
So the lottery is actually ceasing to exist. So just as a bit of a background, whilst we were in our sort of period and state of development, we didn't want to have nothing for our holders to be able to benefit from. So we had a weekly lottery. And also a staking system. So if you were staked, you would receive you would receive a certain amount of tokens based upon what was in the penalty wallet that week. Essentially, what it was is that if you entered into the lottery on a Sunday, you then had to stake your tokens based again on another tier system. You had to stake your tokens in order to enter into that lottery for a variety of different amounts of prizes. To start with, it was $120,000 weekly that we did. That obviously did decrease with time and volume, etc., whilst we were building. But yeah, so you had to stake your tokens for 6 days, and if you wanted to unstake, you'd either have to wait until the Saturday, and then you'd have 24-hour period of being able to unstake. And if you didn't, then if you unstaked during any other period other than those 24 hours, there was a 20% penalty, and basically that 20% penalty went into a wallet that was redistributed amongst the holders weekly. So that was something that we were doing, but that was, as I say, just more of a stopgap, just to keep holders happy and not just holding the token just for the value of it, but also being able to be rewarded. However, what we are doing, so we've just bought a Lamborghini out in Dubai. It's currently getting wrapped and put in Orbit branding. And that is going to be something that we're going to be giving away to our holders. So basically, if you've not sold from the 1st of February, you can buy now as well and not sell. But if you don't sell, then you're going to be essentially eligible to be entered into a lottery to win that Lamborghini, and we will deliver it personally as well. So we're going to be using that as obviously I'll speak more about marketing in a moment, but that's essentially is obviously a bit of a marketing strategy. Everybody says when Lambo, so we thought, fuck it, we'll buy a Lambo, and the time for when Lambo is now. So that's essentially our kind of the current system of a lottery, but it's not, there isn't a time limit on that at the moment. Basically, we bought it out of our own money, and 1% of our marketing money is going to be going into sort of like the Lambo wallet, and once that's filled up and paid back what we paid for it personally, then it's going to be going away to one of our holders.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, because I know it's the nature of the space we're in. You have to hold people's hands sometimes, and you have to be there with announcements every day. You have to do voice chats and all that to keep everyone happy. So I can see a lottery would attract like a lot of people. But now the lottery just grew a little bit larger, right? Where you're getting a Lambo. So that's super exciting.
I mean, who wouldn't want a Lamborghini dropped off at their doorstep?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind, to be honest. Right.
Wouldn't be your worst Friday, would it?
No, it would. Yeah, it would make my day. Yeah. Right. So I was looking at the website and reading everything, and I noticed on your roadmap you have two phases. The phase 1 is Moon, and phase 2 is Beyond. So I like that a lot. Now, how far away are we from Beyond, or how far away are we from the Moon? And
so actually, as I mentioned at the start, the project was built on that kind of hype machine, and that side of the website, as I say, the new website is going to be up and running by the end of the week, which actually has a much more serious roadmap, phasing and all of that sort of side of things, and a new white paper is also going to be dropped as well by the end of the week. So I want to kind of get away from that sort of talk because it was before I came in, for starters, and yes, I obviously want to hype everybody up and get everybody excited, and you should be. If you're either an investor in M31 or you're thinking about investing, you should absolutely be excited. But I also want to get away from the kind of talk where we just go, we're here to Moon. We are obviously here to Moon, and undoubtedly we will. But the whole thing for me about just that being our roadmap is it isn't the identity of because our goal is to go well beyond $1 billion market cap. And I don't think utilizing that as our roadmap is necessarily the best way of doing it. We have, you'll have seen probably that we had a previous logo. I think actually you guys have used our old logo. The new logo and the new branding is very much aligned with the $1 billion company that we're looking to become. And so, as I say, our roadmap is going to be very much outlined on the website in a much more clear, concise, and meticulous fashion. So that'll be by the end of the week as well.
Yeah, I understand. I understand your point, but at the same time, it's not something that maybe some people will see this and think, oh, they're not serious or all that. But after talking to you and listening to what we've been talking about, I don't think anybody sees this as a 1 week old meme coin
No,
or anything like
of
that.
course, but I also think if a serious investor come like, and when I say serious investor, I'm talking that the sort of person that comes in and wants to invest in a product that is real, working, and something that significantly adds value to the space. I think if they saw that, because I know personally as an investor, if I just saw that somebody's roadmap is the moon, it wouldn't be something that attracted me. But yeah, I see your point. But to answer your question, like how long I perceive that. I think we'll start to see significant growth on our chart within the next month, because of obviously the utilities being implemented and everybody wanting to make use of those. But our strategy, our goal, our vision is to be beyond the billion market cap, and I mean a billion within 18 months. Is essentially the plan. But yeah, we'll see short-term gains, but over the long term, it's going to be significant.
Yeah, this is what I love to hear and I love to see. People that are determined, people that have experience, and people that keep on building and have vision. Because when I ask you about Phase One Moon, it's I know like a lot of investors also have a sense of humor, right? Even people with
Yeah,
deep pockets, when they see something like Moon and beyond, maybe that will spark their interest too. So it is
yeah.
sort of like you say, maybe the vast majority would prefer a nice white paper and a cute pitch deck and all the good stuff, right? But
Yep.
it's not all bad, right? It's actually pretty cool.
Of
And
course, of course, and to add to that, absolutely. Like I want to make sure, and we will, and we do. Like usually, it won't be tonight because I've got something to shoot off on. But usually after the AMAs where we're serious, we do tend to take things back to the community. We have a very active community. We used to have a 24/7 VC, but we've cut that down now. But we often then jump back in. Monk and I usually will be out for a few drinks, hop back in after an AMA, and have a lot of fun with people. And I think it's important for people to see that humorous side of things as well. Absolutely, and that's going to be very much reflected in certain types of marketing that we're going to be doing in the future as well. But it's kind of we want to make Orbit kind of a lifestyle: work hard, play hard. Have access to earning a lot of money, and have a lot of fun with it as well at the same time.
yeah, it's true, and I think we're past the point where you have to have the VC open 24/7 to keep people engaged. Like maybe back in the baby cake days, that was a huge gimmick. Everybody would get involved. But now I think people are satisfied to just have some good announcements, get a chance to talk to the team. Maybe join some AMAs and all that. And the space has grown a bit. It's either the scammers had their fool and went away, or either the investors are getting more serious and they're getting better. So I see it clearing up, and I like that you guys are building this launch pad where you take sort of a different approach to everybody else. Well, not everybody else, but most people out there that would rather do something just to grab a market share and that's it, right? Like whereas you guys actually care about the community and you care about what's being put out there. And yeah, we haven't even touched on like the orbit is actually the agency and Andromeda is the token. Like I've brushed across so many things because we got carried away. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, so Orbit is essentially kind of like the mothership, and the token is what powers us. Essentially, that's kind of the way that works. Part of the reason why it's got a different token name to the project name, it's not the sole reason, but part of it was because of launch. There was so much interest in like sniping the launches and all of that kind of stuff that we didn't want people to know obviously that Orbit was coming in and snipe the fuck out of it. So obviously just changing that name a little bit was one of the methods that was kind of like bot prevention, sniper prevention kind of thing.
yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, well, I'm gonna ask you a question that you've never heard before, right? So get ready for it. What are your
I'm
guys
ready.
planned? What do you guys have planned for marketing going forward?
I did not expect that one to come out. Acting,
Yeah.
you are a pioneer in these AMAs.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so we have. a partnership with David Gockstein Media, starting on the 1st of March. So that's a 6-month deal that we've got with them. I'm sure the majority of you will have heard of Gockstein Media, very serious players in the space, and something that we really wanted to capitalize on in, boosting our name, boosting our profile, being seen as a serious project within the space. So we're partnered with them. I've got a list as long as my arm in terms of the things that they're going to be doing for us. We've spent a considerable amount of money on it. We are still in with a very, very expensive deal with a company called Chambers Group, which are a celebrity marketing agency out in LA. They have a social media growth strategy for us, which they literally just started implementing this week. They are also taking care of a bunch of articles, so we've got 20 articles coming out in some major publications over the course of the next 4 weeks, including Forbes, including Maxim, including Bitcoin Weekly, Bazinga, etc. So they're taking care of that from a PR perspective. We're just about to pay. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but for a very high-end production video, which is going to take us about 3 months to make, including pre-production, actually the shoot and post-production, and is going to be part of a viral video marketing campaign that we're going to be launching. Obviously, the regular stuff. We're currently doing an AMA with you. We're doing, we will do the conventional calls, but I want to get away from doing that too much, is because I just don't. I think the majority of people that actually listen to most people's calls are there to get in and out very quickly, and that's not what necessarily so much what we're looking to create. Just benefiting from partnerships. I had a call with somebody that is a caller today. I know I'm not going to say who it is, but probably particularly in the BSC, the most recognized person within the space, to talk about another partnership agreement there, which is probably a little bit different to what people might think it is, but that's something that's being worked on. Obviously the Lamborghini. I think I've got so many plans for marketing. I forget sometimes. There's a lot of things that with marketing, and I'm sure you guys will understand and appreciate and agree with, that is better off not being announced ahead of time, because obviously, buy the rumor, sell the news, that kind of thing. Reluctant to give people the ins and outs of all types of marketing, but I think you can kind of appreciate, based on what I've given you there, and what the ideas is, that we're not really messing around when it comes to it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very fair way of doing it, and it's sort of like you said. Yeah, I like that you guys are taking the traditional way of marketing as well, where you go boots on the ground and do some real marketing, what I like to call. But you can't really overlook the call channels, the
No,
influencers,
absolutely
because
not.
yeah, at the end of the day, everybody has their favorite influencer, everybody has their favorite channel, everybody. So the more communities that you engage, the better. So I think yeah, that's a very healthy way of going about it. So I want to open it up to the community questions as well. I see a few hands up here, but before that, like we didn't get to talk about the cross-chain DEX. Does that mean that you guys are looking at going multi-chain with the token as well?
So the plan is to have a bridge over to ETH. I might not have I didn't mention it. So every part of our utility, obviously, other than Orbit Fund, because it's not really relevant, but every part of the utility is multi-chain. So the beta versions are just primarily going to be on the BSC and ERC. The V ones will have everything, like every chain. So the DEX will have every chain. The launchpad will launch projects on any chain, and likewise with the analytics tools as well. So that is something that we will be looking to have a bridge to ETH, as I say, the utilities are definitely going to be very much multi-chain.
Yeah, that sounds good. I know a lot of people complain about ETH gas fees and ETH that and what, but Ethereum is sort of the golden standard still, and there's not going to be an Ethereum
Yeah.
killer anytime soon. Some people, and it's the same with like the influencers. Everybody has their favorite chain. Like some people like the Binance chain. A lot of people have moved over to AVAX. We see Phantom growing up now, and everybody that's into hardcore NFTs and all that, and are on Matic and Polygon and Solana. So
Solana. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, let me take a few questions from our community here. Let's see.
Yeah, please do, guys. Really appreciate questions.
Um, Aisha, you have a question for Jamie here. Go for it.
Yeah, thanks, Acti. Okay, it's mentioned on Orbit website that you switched to a new contract ID so that you could delete all of the bots and faulty activity, and you have made a new Telegram. I want to know that why did you guys felt the need of creating the new Telegram as issue was in the contract?
Of course. Actually, they're completely separate issues. Our previous Telegram was really bugged, and it meant that the people that were coming in, so we weren't increasing. Basically, whenever somebody came into the group, the number wouldn't increase. So it looked like it was constantly on a sliding scale on a downward trend, even when we had a high influx of people. So the only reason we changed Telegram was because it was bugged.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. And now that you have migrated to a new contract, how will investors get new tokens which have already bought Orbit old tokens? And where will old tokens go? I mean, will old tokens be converted to new tokens?
Yeah, so this actually happened quite a while ago, Aisha. We're talking near enough right at the start of the project back in December, and everybody that held the V1 tokens was airdropped one to one. It happened. It was a very swift migration. It took I think all of about 25 minutes, and everybody was airdropped their tokens. And we then asked everybody if they could then send back their old V1 tokens so that could then we could then drain the liquidity from V1, and obviously then because we had a significant marketing wallet, so the marketing wallet that we used from the previous is what we used to be able to add the liquidity to the second and airdrop the tokens, and then we obviously got that money back. So that's kind of done and dusted now. It was a long time ago. And so yeah, everybody got dropped their V2 tokens, and it was, as I say, a very swift transition.
Okay, I didn't know that it already happened in December. Thank you. Thank you for answering.
That's all right. Were you a V1 holder, Aisha?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no. So as I say, every single person that was a V1 holder was airdropped one to one. Same supply, everything. So yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's
You're
go
welcome. Thanks for
to
asking.
Ayush, or I don't know if I'm saying it right. Ayush, you have a question?
Yes, sir. Is my voice is audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Actually, my question is as 7% token is used for marketing. So the person who gets the token, so they can able to sell the 100% tokens at one time, or there is some kind of vesting period. So they can't able to dump our this kind of good project. Actually, I am from India, sir. So I don't have a good English, to be
That's
honest.
okay. I'm not entirely sure I understand the question though, my friend.
Yes. So,
Could
sir,
you
you
repeat?
understand my question?
Pardon?
Yes, sir. Actually, I want to say that as 7% of token were using for marketing. So the influencer who take the tokens for marketing, they can able to sell 100% token at one time, or there is some kind of vesting period for them. So they can't able
Okay,
to
so
dump
you're
us.
you're saying if an influencer was paid with tokens, would there be a vested period?
Yes, yes, sir, sir.
Okay, so I mean, previously we had given some influencers tokens. That's not something that we'll ever do anymore. Anyone that's an influencer for us will get paid in BUSD. It's not that there's not going to be a vesting period. There's just not going to be tokens that are given to people that are influencing for us.
Okay, thank you for that question. Let's go to Syed. Syed, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Akti. Thank you, Akti. You mentioned about Orbit Hedge Fund in return of investments, and your experts will do the trading. You have discussed this topic, but I want to just to be sure. I want to know that what minimum amount one need to invest in this Orbit Hedge Fund.
I don't think, and this is actually a question I'm not 100% sure of, but I believe there isn't a minimum amount you can invest from a BUSD perspective, but you will need to hold a minimum amount of 2,500 tokens in orbit, not $2,500, but 2,500 M31 tokens in order to be able to access the orbit fund.
Okay, got it. And also, there will be no maximum limit.
Nope. You can invest 10 million if you want to. I mean,
Got
please
it.
invest
So
10
I
million.
want to.
Like, if you've got 10 million you want to invest, go, please do.
Yeah, it will also be good for investors. They will get a huge return for that as well.
Exactly.
So I want to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know that will it be necessary for project who want to use your launch pads that they are KYC'd?
It will be a requirement to privately KYC, yes. So as I mentioned at the start, we are partnering with a project called JoinCoin, which are launching next week, who are KYC partners and have an AI. So, we completely understand the reasons why not everybody wants to dox in this space. It can be a very dangerous space. So we use our partnerships with JoinCoin to ensure that all projects will be KYC'd at least privately. Yes.
Okay, got it. So one more question. You mentioned about this hedge fund. You mentioned that your users will take all the profit. So is there any percentage of the revenue that you will keep as a fee or tax?
Absolutely. So everything that's made kind of addition on top, that's what's going to be our revenue stream. So we haven't got the actual figures for that, but as I say, our holders are going to be at up to 7% in the lower tier, up to 10% in the higher tier. And yes, we absolutely will be taking some of those profits in order to fund the project, essentially.
Okay, got it. And about your Launchpad, will you provide other services along with Launchpad to the projects like marketing, fundraising, and audit, maybe?
Absolutely. So we will 100% be assisting them with marketing. As I say, we've got our partnership with Goxline Media, so we'll be utilizing that in order to help people, as well as other forms of marketing as well. On a side note, at some point, we are going to be setting up a marketing agency, which is not essentially going to be Orbit, but it's going to be powered by Orbit in order to assist those projects with the marketing. And you mentioned auditing. That's also something that our partners, JoinCoin, will be helping out with. They have a partnership with Certec, which will obviously they'll be able to access those audits through JoinCoin, and JoinCoin will also be able to get those fast tracked for the people as well, without paying like ridiculously high fees. You're welcome.
Yeah. So are you thinking about NFTs, or you think you don't need that?
Yes, actually. So the reason I haven't mentioned NFTs yet is because it's not. I say we're not working on them. We are working on them. In matter of fact, I literally just 10 minutes before this AMA finished a meeting with someone out in Dubai about NFTs, and that is something that we're going to be bringing a limited amount of NFTs to Orbit, which the utility of those is basically going to be able to provide you with, depending on what rarity of the NFT, high level access to all of our utilities, regardless of whether you're an M31 holder or not. So even if you were a low level M31 holder, but you had our highest NFT, you would forever, for as long as you hold that NFT, get the top level access to all of our utilities. But that's it's not our priority right now, but it is something that we're actively working on getting the designs made, and it will be coming. Yes.
Yeah, that could be useful. Thank you so much for answering. Thank you so much, and best of luck.
Of course, no problem. Thanks for asking.
All right, thank you, Syed. I see one more hand here. Sahil, Sahil, do you have a question?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm also good, sir. Sir, actually, as I have seen in the website, 3% monk slash Kandina. Sir, what does it mean? Actually, I never saw this.
Sure. So Monk is the CEO. Canada actually was a co-founder. He, due to personal reasons, a very sick member of his family, he wasn't able to kind of give the project his full of attention because of the need to care for her. So he's actually left. But the team consists of Monk, who's the CEO. Myself, the CMO. We've got Foliash, who's the COO. And then we've got Stan, project manager. And then we have a team of devs. And we also have a very great team of mods that work round the clock and do an exceptional job for us. So we have a really solid team in place.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir, for
You're
answering
welcome.
me.
Of course, no problem.
All right. I don't see any more hands up, so thank you everybody for your questions, and I want to thank you too, Jamie. This has been completely awesome. Like I know you guys are working on something great, and it's like I said, we've had the guys over from JoinCoin in here, so your partnerships are starting to show for everybody. I know you can't just say everything you're doing. Like I often tell people, if you have 20 utilities coming, maybe tell them about 2 of them, and keep something for yourself, because it's the nature of the space we're in. So I think you guys are going about it in a very good way. So before I close the recording, is there something that I haven't asked, or perhaps would you like to do like a quick recap to for everyone that joined late here?
Yeah, of course. So again, guys, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for listening as well. Please do join our community. As I say, we've got a team of mods that are constantly working. So you'll always have a very quick answer to your questions. We'll also have regular VCs as well. We have a regular AMA on Sunday. This Sunday we will be announcing something pretty special as well. So that will be the first project that we're launching. So it's going to be a very exciting one. And yeah, I just want to, as I say, thank you so much again. For those of you that tuned in late, just as a quick recap, we are Orbit. Our mission is to bring various revenue streams. We will just want to make as much money for our holders as possible, as well as obviously making money for ourselves. We are going to, without a doubt, take this to beyond $1 billion market cap. And our utilities, we're going to have Orbit Launchpad, Orbit Fund. Both of these things are out by the end of the week. As I say, I don't need to go too much detail about the Orbit Launchpad. It is essentially a launchpad that we're only going to be picking the best projects. We have Orbit Fund, which is essentially a decentralized crypto hedge fund, which is going to be able to create you passive income between 7 to 10% monthly, and that's based upon the amount of M31 that you hold. We also have Orbit Analytics, which is a very advanced in-depth analytics tool, which is going to help you to create a lot more knowledge about projects in the space and enhance your investment decisions and opportunities. And finally, we're going to have a cross-chain DEX as well. So very exciting time. Thanks for listening, guys. And as I say, please do come into our chat, ask us questions anytime. And also, the other thing I was going to say is we have essentially whatever you want from a whitelist giveaway spots for JoinCoin as well, which is launching next week. It's our KYC partners. So I don't know who. I'm assuming the chap that says was it the giveaway king or something. I saw him earlier. I don't know where he's gone. But if you guys want to coordinate and send me over a bunch of wallet addresses that are interested, it's a minimum 0.5 BNB contribution up to 6 BNB. And as I say, that'll be launching within the next week. So if you guys want to take care of that, send me those over and I'll get them whitelisted for you.
All right, Jamie. Yeah, that sounds great. Actually, during the JoinCoin AMA in here, they were gracious enough to actually turn off the whitelist function, so a bunch of members from our community could actually join in straight away. But yeah, if we can get some more whitelist spots for members, that's amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah, go fill your boots, guys. As I say, anyone that wants it, just you guys collect those details for me, and I'll make sure I'll get them a whitelist spot.
all right, cool. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jamie. I'll finish the recording now.